I left the lights of Johannesburg behind me, I peered out the window and could only wonder what direction, if any, my life would take after this journey into the past. Thousands of years of wars, Romans and Renaissance awaited me. From midsummer to midwinter, even the plane's wings froze up and required de-icing. The millennium clock was ticking and included the demise of the Deutschmark and other currencies.
Snowing here in Munich. Very cold.
My first stop was Germany. This was to be my first real experience of seeing snow falling from the skies. I wondered how the locals were affected by the constant greyness.
And my feet are freezing because they're bare feet. It's about 0 degrees, of course. Show us the snow.
Nothing is what it seems. Here I was in a park called the English Garden in Munich. Some eccentric Englishman had established it in the distant past, probably homesick for England. Even the swans were transplanted.
Welcome, my son. Welcome to Machine.
Munich's Technical Museum. 4 floors to delight little boys and their dads. Aircraft of all descriptions. Of course, mostly Teutonic.
It's all right, we know where you've been.
All those machines we had seen in countless anti-German war movies. Now I knew where they had kept them.
You've been in the pipeline, filling your time.
Europe's super efficient trains sped through the night, and at last I had arrived at my destination. It was a strange feeling, almost like I'd returned from a long journey. I could feel the pull of my roots.
Guarda questa terra che gira insieme a noi, anche quando è buio. Guarda questa terra che gira anche per noi. Addarci un po' di
I have just a truck, little truck.
Preso, l'avevo preso, io voglio!
Outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we
Sento la tua voce e ascolto il mare.
If there was just one word to describe Italy, then it has to be style.
Davvero il tuo respiro, l'amore che mi dai, questo amore che sta lì nascosto in mezzo alle sue ore.
So here I was in this land of gladiators, popes and Michelangelo. All around me, people simply accepted thousands of years of civilization and culture. My head was spinning. Can someone point out the real statue? So many people, so many stories. What did it all mean? And still the seconds counted down. Stefania and Carlo are my Milano cousins. They are strictly into fashion design, music composing and social causes. Truly Italian. Music, courtesy of Carlo.
It's a fisherman. Hola.
Hola! Ciao a
Typical
tutti,
Italian
Sudafrica! Natal, Cape Town, and only
Birdman e Fishman, Edoardo? Tu sei Birdman
Da
e
oggi mi
Fishman.
chiamo Season.
Sì, Season.
Abbiamo visto la registrazione, ti abbiamo trovato in forma, mi è venuto un brivido perché si vede che siete sorelle e ne ho sentito sempre parlare di te e sono felice. Salutala. Dai.
Ciao
Dai.
Luisa, quando è che vieni a trovarci?
Io sono Edoardo, mia moglie l'hai conosciuta, è quella che mi ha rovinato la vita.
Non è vero, non è
Ti
vero.
voglio tanto bene.
E veniamo a trovarti.
Ti veniamo a trovare perché a primavera siamo in Sudafrica.
On the last day of the millennium, I headed south to Naples and Sorrento, the birthplace of my mother. I would soon be treading in my father's footsteps all those years ago. Villa Cesera. So now I knew where my sister got her name from. I soon learnt not to be deceived by outside appearances. After being assured that the bangs were not the local mafia, but millennium crackers, I got down to capturing every detail that caught my eye. Art and history simply oozed from every nook and cranny. Tales from my childhood were coming to life through my lens.
Dario?
Sì, Dario.
Piace mangiare italiano?
Zia Antoinetta, my aunt, was the matriarch for the extended family. She didn't understand why I could not speak Italian. She was in charge, and cooking was her forte. I had never tasted such homemade delights. Braais was soon a distant memory. In my room upstairs, I found these portraits of my great-grandparents. It was New Year's Eve, and the extended family had gathered to eat. TV blaring, everyone talking at the same time, and a feast before us. This was a typical Italian family, and I was part of it. I felt like the prodigal son who had returned. There was no question of my acceptance. I just wished my mother had taught me to speak the language.
Luisa, ho fatto le zeppole con i struscioli. Ti vorrebbe tenere vicine per offrirti una zeppola. Spero che il mio desiderio starai qua qualche anno. Io ti aspetto.
One of my nephews. Such classical Italian features. On the streets of Sorrento, everyone seemed to know each other, and there was much greeting and hugging. Lovely.
Luciano, sul macello, zia Peppinella. Lei è la nipote di zia Peppinella.
No large anonymous supermarkets here. Just a bunch of old friends and acquaintances who were happy to accept me as one of their own.
Sono lo stesso prezzo? No, sembra poco.
I love these handles.
La macelleria del nonno, dove lavorava zia Luisa.
The family butchery where my father met my mother in 1943. Now an empty shell.
L'anno scorso.
Friends of my mother who say they remember her. Mussolini and Jesus, side by side. As soon as they heard I was distant family, this coffee shop refused to take any payment. What could I say? With hours to go before this part of the world was plunged into the new millennium, part of me wanted to stay behind. Maybe the year 2000 would burst the bubble of euphoria that had built up. How many times would we like to turn back the hands of time? If only it was as easy as using a computer to reverse the timelines of our lives. On New Year's Day, cousin Ernesto drove us to the town of Positano, often used for movie locations. Rugged cliffs and houses with stunning views reminded me of parts of the Cape Peninsula.
A te, te li do io.
It was cold, and the coffee shop on the beach was doing a roaring trade. If this how busy the middle of winter was, I wondered how the small towns coped with the hot summer weather. Back at the family home, the old photos and memories were unpacked. I was trying hard to figure out who fitted where in the family tree.
Devi chiamare a Cecilia e a Joey. Sì, cerco di tuo nonno.
My mother is a young woman. I couldn't help wondering if there was any connection to those ancient Romans who were buried alive almost 2,000 years ago. Pompeii was certainly a sobering experience for me. My imagination struggled to cope with the avalanche of images and thoughts that the ruins had imparted.
È lunga, sicca, grazie.
Ma sono tutte e due così.
No, ce ne stavano brune.
My cousins seemed unperturbed by the day's outing. They were happy to natter away in one of the local dialects.
No.
No, allora è quell'altro, ho capito chi.
L'avvocato.
Ma scusato come si chiama.
We were on our way to that great Italian institution, the Pizzeria. Like everything the Italians do, they do with style and pride. When they heard I was a visitor, researching my roots, I was invited into the kitchen to film. I got the impression that even though the chefs had prepared thousands of these meals, each one was still special and an individual creation. Bellissimo.
This morning was horrible.
Is
Scegliamo la matriciana.